been a minute, folks. It's been a minute. I've actually had three deals all going on at the same time, and none of them are, you know, cut and dry, simple, sit down and closes. So I've kind of dedicated all my time and effort to making sure that they all go smoothly. One of them was hanging on by a dear thread. I got the other one that fell apart completely and got put back together. And then I got a third one that hasn't really hit any rocky steps yet, but it is kind of an assumption. Not kind of, it is an assumption, which is not the easiest when it comes to the underwriting and everything that they ask for. But however, I wanted to come back here and make a video on kind of a NAR settlement part 2. Reason being is we're towards the end of September, which is where the NAR settlement was implemented, and us realtors and brokers had to adjust to the new rule set and the new standards of practice. And I kind of want to talk about what I personally have seen out there, buy side and sell side, and what I've also seen consumer side. Talk about what some of the other agents and other brokers in the brokerage have seen on their end, as well as what I've seen through social medias like, you know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. There's a lot of folks who have platforms there, and they express what they've seen, what they've known, and what they feel, and it's always good to bring that information forward. So it's going to be hopefully a short video for you guys to digest, kind of a NAR settlement part 2, and we'll get into it. Okay, so let's talk sales side. Personally, what I've seen on the sales side is sort of business as usual. The only difference is that I'm receiving text messages, calls, or emails asking if we're offering commission right off the bat. Other than that, I've had a gentleman who sent me his commission request in his offer. They didn't even call me or ask me if we were offering commission. They sent me an offer with the commission request inside of it. However, it was a lowball offer. We didn't want to accept it. If we were going to accept it, if it was a competitive offer, I would have countered with what we are offering, because he requested 3% commission and we were offering 2.5 to the buy side. So that's a simple little, yeah, you sent me 3%. There you go, buddy. I'm going to counter with 2.5, accept it if you want or not. But other than that, in the brokerage, they've seen the same thing. Folks are asking right up front. Now, I don't know what would have happened if any of the listings that we had were not offering compensation, because as far as I know, in my brokerage and all the agents in it are all offering compensation still. Nobody has done the no compensation route. So I don't know what would have happened there. Obviously, with the NAR settlement, you have an agreement with your client where if the sales side is not offering compensation, then the compensation comes from your client itself. But however, I digress. I have not heard what has occurred if a listing is not offering compensation. Now, moving on to what I've heard on the internet and social media and out there in the world from other brokerages, there's some pretty wild stuff happening out there. Now, I don't know if it's, you know, the clickbait. I don't know if it's trying to drive traffic to your videos. I'm not gonna knock anybody on doing that, because, you know, I respect the hustle, but I've seen things like, don't ever talk about commission, just request it in the offer. Or the other side, as the sales side, you know, don't tell them that you're offering commission. If they ask you, just say, ask for whatever you want in the offer. And, you know, we'll see what we go up with, because a listing may be offering, you know, 3% commission or 6% commission, and they send you an offer requesting 2%. And now you get, as a selling agent, get to keep 4%, because that's how that works. Another thing is also, I've seen that right off the bat. So if people are calling and say, hey, are you offering commission? They're like, yeah, we're gonna offer you 2% commission, or we're gonna offer you 1% commission. And the total commission is 6, and the sale agent gets to keep the remainder of it. So if they give you 2, they keep 4. If they give you 1, they keep 5. That's another thing that I've seen on the internet folks do, because they justify by saying, we're on the sales side. We do all of the work, we do all of the marketing, we do all of the photography, we do all of the open houses, in which I understand, I get it, but I'm a big proponent of both sides, you know, devil's advocate on here. There's been clients on the buy side that are hell on wheels and are very difficult to work with. Just like there's clients on the sales side that are difficult to work with, just like there's vice versa. There's clients on the buy side that are a dream to work with, and clients on the sales side, or houses on the sales side, that, you know, go on market and sell in one day. I defend both sides, but that's some of the stuff I've seen out there, just, you know, kind of wacky trains of thoughts. Now, let me not be a hypocrite. I'll tell you right now, if that's what's going to be working and the industry shifts that way, I'll be the first one to jump on the bandwagon. I'll be the first one to be offering or not offering, to telling folks, ask for it in the offer, I'm not talking about it. Because that's now become the industry standard. However, as far as I go and everything I've seen around me, it's business as usual. We'll split in the commission. The only difference is people are asking for it up front. Okay, so buy side. Let's talk buy side. Like I said on the sales side, you already kind of got the gist of it. We have to talk to these agents ahead of time and request to see if they're offering compensation. Get it in writing. That's the most important part. A phone call is not enough. Verbal communication is not enough. It has to be in writing, whether it's a text or an email, but it has to be in writing or in the offer and they sign it, as far as my brokerage and other agents that I've talked to, the same, business as usual. You just have to ask for it. That's all it is. The only controversial part, and I do air quotes because it's not really controversial, but the only talking point is if you agree with your client on a 3% commission, your buyer's client, and the listing agent only offers you 2.5, do you then go for the extra 0.5 off of your client, or do you just waive it? Me personally, and a couple of the folks that I work with are just like, you know what, waive it. It's okay. What's 0.5? I would assume that if we're talking about a $20 or $25 million listing, that might be a different story. But as far as the median value of a home around here, between $350,000 to $380,000, they're willing to waive that 0.5%. When it comes to social medias and the interwebs, it's a whole nother story. There's a lot of folks who, fight tooth and nail for that extra 0.5% or maybe even 1%, because you may run into an agent that says, yeah, we're offering 2%. 1% can, is a nice chunk of change off of some of these homes when you're talking $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. I mean, that's the only divisive part that I've seen on the buy side when it comes to this new NAR settlement. Me personally, if, as a buyer or as a buyer's agent, I would have the conversation and just put it on their hands. Like, hey, I've been able to secure 2.5% from the seller. There's a 0.5 left on the table. I'm willing to waive it if you guys, don't want to come out of pocket anymore. It's a negligible amount, I would assume. But, if you guys really like the service that I'm providing and you think I'm doing everything I can, would you be so gracious to just, out of pocket that extra 0.5% so I can get the full rounded 3? I'll ask for it. I ain't got no qualms, but that's my take on it. That's just my personal take. It doesn't mean that's the right way. It doesn't mean that it's the wrong way. It's just the way I would do it. I don't mind having conversations with people. It's what got me the job in the first place. But that's kind of what I've seen on the buy side. Not much controversy, with the exception of what happens if you ask for 3 from your buyer and only get 2.5 from the sellers. What do we do now? Another small little pointer that I've also noticed on the buy side, and I don't know if this is happening everywhere, but at least here in Brevard County, I've noticed it ramp up. New construction. New construction are now offering flat rates that would be more than the percentage that you would get for selling the home. They're banking on, commissions are under attack and commissions are under threat. Just bring your buyers here and boom, you don't have to worry about it. Here's your 10 grand. Which I've seen a ramp up of it a lot here in new construction. I don't know if it's happening everywhere, but here in Brevard County, that's what we're seeing and that's what we're noticing. They're kind of, using the term of commission threat, or, commissions are under attack, or, whatever they want to fill their new construction homes up with potential buyers. But I just wanted to bring that. It's just a little tidbit. Not much to talk about there because I haven't had a new construction buy occur lately, but just something I noticed that's happening out there. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk consumers. This is, to me, where we as professionals need to spend the majority of time, because I've talked to quite a few people. Obviously, it's my job to talk to people, and I think I've seen the most all over the place type scenario in the general public. Because you got to think, these folks, even the ones that are planning to buy and sell homes, are not going to sit there and go through an entire NAR article. They might bump into a video and see some of it, consume some of the content, but unless they're searching for it, they're not going to find it, because those hashtags and those keywords are not in their sphere. It's not going to get to them that readily. I ran into folks where I'm having the conversation and they're still thinking about the CNN clickbait that happened at the beginning of the NAR settlement. The whole commission is dead, no more paying commission. There's folks who just blatantly say, it's like, oh no, yeah, now as a buyer, I no longer have to pay commission. I'm like, well, as a buyer, you never had to pay commission before. Now you do. And they go, what? Let me explain. So I've really taken to myself that anybody who I'm having a conversation with, I try to bring it up. I try to talk about it if it makes sense. Obviously, I'm not, oh yeah, I love daisies. Those are my favorite flowers. By the way, have you talked about the NAR settlement yet? You know, I try to make it sense. For example, open houses. When I have folks come into the open house, it's a great conversation piece if they're here, because as professionals, the more conversation we can have, the more likely that we're going to build a rapport, and the more likely that these people are going to want to work with us. So, you know, what brings you into my open house? Great, wonderful. Would you like a guided tour? Would you like to take care of, of it yourself? If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. As you guys know, I love saturating myself with information, whether it's about the listing, the neighborhood, or the surrounding area. So I've got a lot of useless info that I want to get out. So please ask me questions when you're here at my open houses. And then I'll bring it up. It's like, hey, are you working with an agent? You are? Great. Have they talked to you about the NAR settlement? They haven't. Let's talk about it. Or are you working with an agent? No. Oh, is there anything holding you back from working with an agent like the NAR settlement? What's the NAR settlement? Let's talk about it. I like having those conversations and educating the people, because the more education you get out to the public, the less stigma that there is. And the less stigma that you have, the more people will work with us. And that's the whole point, is to grow the industry together. Yes, I want to grow individually, but if the industry doesn't grow, I'm not going anywhere. So that's where I think as professionals, we need to dedicate the majority of our time when it comes to these conversations with folks, is making sure that they understand what's happening out there, which is also why I'm making these videos and things like that. But I could keep on rambling on for hours and hours and hours, so I'm gonna leave it there. I think I covered pretty good on the basis of everything I've experienced in the month of September when the NAR settlement came in. I'll probably do another one way on down the road, give it a couple of months, maybe a year, whatever it may be. And then we'll make another one of these NAR videos to see how the industry stands down there. But other than that, this has been Angel, your real estate guardian. Give me a call.